You have 20 seconds to tell me everything you know about Frozen. Ready? Go.
Two sisters. One freezes things when she gets upset. The other one is like, you don't need anybody. I guess she learns to... Either she learns that she doesn't need anyone or how to stop freezing people. Is that about right?
That sounds about right. Okay, go. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I know, yes, it is about sisters. And then they had a really hard time making it when they made it because they couldn't like make the plot work. They were trying to like make it not be where like the girls needed a guy, and they made like the older sister, the sister of the freezing powers, be too freezy and like too like mean. And so nobody liked the film, and they only had like 10 months because they already like made so much of it to come up with a way to make it work. And then one day they were just like walking in the park. The songwriters, they're just like, oh, what are we going to do? You know what? F it. We just got to just let it go.
Oh,
wow.
And then they were like, wait a second. Let it go? Let it go. What? And then that's how it actually came out of the frustration. And so that's what I'm going to share that I know about Frozen. Welcome. This is Season 3, Episode 8 of the now award-winning podcast, Unofficial Official Story. I'm Kat, and I am still waking up. We are shooting this in the morning, and I'm tired.
Hello, I'm Dwayne. I'm in a great mood, but I'm a little upset because I tried to call customer service and drop dime on this guy for closing the bathrooms at this coffee shop. And then while I was in the bathroom...
Here we go with another Starbucks story.
They called me back. But I will call later because you can't sell a diuretic and close the bathroom.
Is this another plug for Panera Plus?
No, the Starbucks. This
Okay.
one's a Starbucks
No, but
one.
Panera would never do that, everyone. So go to the Sip Club because the bathroom is open.
Oh, the Sib Club. That was the Panera Plus, like Disney Plus.
I just caught that.
And I'm Koji, and I am trying to get Panera to sponsor us. I've been linking us to Panera all the time to see if they would come in and give us some money. So there you
They
go.
could at least give us free Panera Plus subscriptions.
That would be great. Maybe we could do it from a Panera.
Oh, yeah, we could do it at the Sip Club.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Maybe outside.
Ooh, with
Yeah.
cookies,
Yeah,
the all in the sink cookies. Hey, look at that plug. We're doing this for free. This isn't. I need to shut my mouth.
Imagine what it would be if we got paid for it. It'd be way
Right?
different. Yeah.
We'd be doing like ASMR, eating the brownies into the
Yeah,
microphone.
and there'd be no mention of the green store with the mermaid in the front.
Yeah, exactly.
The mermaid place. Okay, well, this is where we tell you the official story. We look at the paranormal, conspiracies, unexplained phenomena, cryptids, and true crime, and by the end, we'll tell you what really maybe happened. And it's finally that time of the decade, the 10th anniversary of one of Disney's biggest ever films, Frozen, in honor of arguably one of the best animated movies of all time.
Okay, so our intern wrote that, so I'm not
Okay.
sure. I'm not sure I agree with that personally.
Well, he said arguably, so we could argue about it.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
It's not.
Yeah, I have feelings. Today, we'll be posing an interesting question. Did Disney come up with the name Frozen as a distraction from a bigger conspiracy theory about Walt Disney's death? But first, let's introduce our guest, Sierra Katow. Sierra is a stand-up comic, writer, and actor. She recently shot her first hour-long stand-up special with comedy dynamics and can be seen playing Evangeline on Mindy Kaling's The Sex Lives of College Girls on Max. In the past, she was part of the main cast of The G Word with Adam Conover on Netflix and voiced characters for Disney's Raya and the Last Dragon. She has also written for shows like Exploding Kittens on Netflix, Close Enough, Max, Earth to Ned, Disney Plus, and Eureka on Disney Plus. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's very impressive.
High five.
You gotta put the credits,
That's
great,
but
You are
thanks
crushing
for
it.
reading it.
Did you always want to know you wanted to be a writer, actor, comedian,
Oh,
or is that something that came up later?
Yeah, I guess I started in stand-up comedy. I grew up out here in La Cañada near Los Angeles and wanted to do comedy, so I started with stand-up because it just seemed like the least barrier of entry, which is maybe also an issue because open mics got a lot of wacky people. But I started in that and wanted to do, I think, TV writing in the sense that I liked watching Family Guy and a lot of these kind of, teen comedy skewed, hilarious things on TV and realize that's even a job. But I was still a very like studious student, so I still went to college and got my computer science degree and was like, well, I kind of like that stability too. So yeah, I feel like TV writing became
you have to do
what?
That. Yeah.
I'm Asian? Yes, I think that did help the incentive to, you know, kind of buckle down and figure out how to make a career out of this, even though it's a very strange career, you know.
I always tell people that comedy, because I was a long time ago also a computer science major, and people always say, you know, you went from that to comedy. And I always tell people that they're kind of similar in a way.
I feel
and
that way too. Wait,
yeah.
I remember hearing that. I think people,
Yes,
anytime I mention, they're like, do you know Dwayne? Like, he's,
Right,
yeah,
right.
that's awesome. What did you think they're similar? Like,
in terms of patterns,
Okay,
and,
yeah.
and deciphering patterns. I mean, it's many moons ago for me, but you know, like back in the day, you could write a program and it looks like it would work, and just even the syntax of it, 1 comma,
oh, I know. Those
one
damn semicolons.
semicolon,
Yeah.
Like, because you know, in a program you have things that are like comments that like the compiler is not supposed to do anything with. So yeah, anything off and the whole thing doesn't work. And I feel comedy can be like that too. Like a joke can work every time, but then like something, and you don't even know what happened. Like someone dropped a fork or anything, you drop the word, and then the joke doesn't work like it used to.
Yeah,
you know?
wow.
Yeah,
No,
I
I
also
love
feel like it's like that because I code for my day job,
No way.
Python.
Okay,
Yeah.
wow, look at
I'm
us. What are we doing?
Data scientist. But yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like with a joke, with learning how to write a joke, it's a lot like learning to code or looking at somebody else's code. Like when you're analyzing jokes and trying to like reverse engineer what it was, and you're like, okay, this piece was that. This was the setup. This was these are the tags. I mean, now that I've been doing it a long time, that stuff comes very intuitively. But when I was learning how to write a joke and just looking at like a paragraph of text and going, how did they make people laugh?
Sure.
To go from there to understanding the mechanics is a lot like interpreting programming code for sure.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay. Yeah. I've never connected those dots, so thank you for doing that. But yeah, I'm always way more like systematic at like approaching, you know, writing stuff, and I think a lot of writers are like that. It's like everybody kind of you have such a lack of control. And you like start to be like, well, I got to make sure the formatting is right, and you know, make sure that this is all spelled correctly. So you know, I think that's like part of it too. Yeah. But exactly, there's you know one little thing
My
can throw it off.
boyfriend and I are we're co-writing a script right now. We're writing a feature together, and he's like let's just go for it, let's just like dive in, and I'm like, no, we have a bunch of steps. We have to make first our page with like our character things, and then our outline, and then we have to do this, and then we're gonna go pass on our outline with the
That's
Robert
how you're supposed to do
Mackey,
it. That's
and
how you're
like-
supposed to do it.
right? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You don't even start writing until you know the overall story for
Oh,
sure.
100%.
Right. That'll make it so much harder.
And even
Yeah.
the discipline of, like, even if you didn't think of that, just the discipline of your studies you can apply to.
Yeah, I
to
went
this,
to a
yeah.
writer's retreat, and I invited this the speaker to the class, and it was the showrunner for The Office.
Ooh.
And she's been writing a ton before that too. And she came in and she spoke about how when she writes features, she doesn't outline it. But it was different though. And all the students were asking me about it later. I was like, okay, so the moment you write 20 years for TV and you have like a really good sense of story and characters and know how to like know what you're going to do already, then you could write it without outlining. Because I was like, I could write it without an outline too, but you have never written anything before. Why do you think you could just come in and write
Absolutely.
it?
It's kind of when
Yeah.
comedians riff. Like when a
gonna
new
say that,
comedian
yes.
goes on stage, sometimes they'll go to an open mic and they'll be like, oh, I didn't write anything, I'm just going to riff. And of course it bombs. But you have a seasoned comedian on stage, they already have an intuitive sense of like premise, punchline, tag, and that sort of a thing. And also like what works, what doesn't work, wording,
yeah.
Timing.
timing.
Yeah.
And so they can riff off the cuff,
Yeah.
and it seems like so
Cooking
brilliant.
is like that too. Like, you know, you probably have to just abide by the recipe until you just
know how
get
to
it.
sprinkle in. Yeah, I'm
Right.
the kind of person who's like, I don't want to read the recipe, and then it's like tastes horrible. I'm like, what happened? I
It's
don't
like
know.
porn. Porn is like that too. Yeah. At first, it's usually like a formula, and then eventually you're just like, I'm just gonna do it. And
I mean, watching it or
no,
Right.
being in it.
Oh, creating it.
You know, I wouldn't know
Interesting.
about that.
I mean, I assume there's got to be a story, you know, so maybe they got to outline and
Yeah.
Yeah.
The postman comes in, and they don't really do that anymore. I don't think as
been
much.
done. Kind of tropey at this point.
They probably have done every single occupation that there is. of this-
Yeah, they got to expand into like new types
Yeah,
of jobs,
I wouldn't
like
know about
AI, AI programmer.
I wouldn't know either. It just-
Let's get the story straight once and for all.
yeah, let's do it.
Did Disney name its film Frozen to distract internet users from conspiracies about Walt Disney's death? let's set the scene with this info for biography.com. On December 15th, 1966, animation legend Walt Disney died from complications of lung cancer, for which he had undergone surgery, just over a month earlier. A private funeral was held the next day, and on December 17th, his body was cremated and interred at the Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California. But shortly after his death, a rumor began to circulate that he might be living in a more literal sense with his body suspended in a frozen state and buried deep beneath the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland in Anaheim, California, awaiting the day when medical technology would be advanced enough to reanimate the animator.
Say this technology actually worked, and you could be reanimated later. Would you
Yes.
guys want to?
No.
Ew.
Maybe.
No, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know why it just made me think of the movie Interstellar, which, was that Christopher Nolan?
Yeah.
I feel like if you like a Christopher Nolan movie, then skip the next one and then watch the next one. So just as soon as you get one you like, go every other movie. And you'll be fine.
He alternates between two kind
Right,
of
right.
styles.
So you're saying like if you get reanimated, but like wait a couple generations?
No,
is that
no,
what
no,
you're getting at?
no. Because my thing is, if they freeze you and you wake up, then like if you have children, they might be older than you. All this kind of weird stuff. And in that movie, like this guy's like goes to space, he comes back, his daughter is like 50 years older than him. They're just acting normal about it. He's in a hospital room with family members, and no one's like, "Who's that?" And she's not like, "Oh, that's my dad." Wait, your dad is 50 years younger, you know. So that I always thought, like, is this really happening? Because no one's acting like this is a big deal. So anyway, I would want to be frozen, but being younger than people who were younger than you.
Because I didn't think of why I said no. Okay, I just intuitively was like, no. Okay, because when you come back, you're not going to have any employable skills. And then you're going to have to be a homeless person on Skid Row.
Yeah.
'cause-
Historian.
Oh.
You could be a
That's
historian of
true.
the year 2024.
You could
But we don't need
you could
historians.
do a podcast tour and like talk about your
Okay, you'd
experience.
like have to be a content creator. That's like the only thing. Because I don't know about historian. Because AI could just have history.
true.
Or like
at
that
that
Seth Rogen movie, you could sell pickles. I don't know if you
I never watched that one.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Okay, cool. I gotta watch it.
Okay, yeah, because I don't know what you would do. Like, how would you even take care of yourself? The economics of it don't add up. So I'd rather just.
No, but
You
I
could, you
think,
could be a
That
porn.
goes.
but it's gonna be whatever.
I mean, really trying to push this porn thing.
Whatever it is, it's going to be easier. Like,
You might not have a job. You might not need a
yeah,
job.
you may not even need a
Right.
job. There
I
may be
think,
no capitalism at all. It may just
I think that the issue is like if you are the only one, right? It creates some problems. It's then you have no friends, you have no community, you're like completely out of your element. It's like a time traveler because you're just this is cool for like a day, but then you kind of want to go back to your family.
Right.
But then if everybody can do it, then that's cool. But then you definitely don't want to get left out, and then you're not special. And then if you are the only one, you maybe could.
Book tour.
Do a memoir. You could be the guy. That's
Right,
that's the woman who was frozen. Whoa, let's go. Like you could do conferences.
Porn.
You do porn. Oh my god.
Do you guys know
think
about
you
the lady on one of the Channel Islands? This is a real thing. You can look it up. So back in the day, explorers came to the Channel Islands.
The actual story.
Yeah, off of
I was still thinking about porn.
no, here off of somewhere off California. And there were some natives. It was a small island. There were some natives. They took them all. They just took them and took them somewhere else to, I don't know, study them or whatever.
There's a book about this.
And they left one girl.
Oh.
She was completely on this island, completely by herself.
Yeah.
And then for like years, maybe
Horror
30
movie.
years,
Yeah.
maybe 30, 40 years. Then someone came back or another group came and they discovered her. And they were like, you've been here this whole time, And then they took her to Santa Barbara and then she died like 3 weeks later just because she got some kind of infection because her body wasn't. couldn't-
There was
you're
a,
isolated, and then
yeah.
you're not exposed
They
to all
make
that.
fifth graders read the book about her, and then also there's a whole thing about her at the Santa Barbara
Island
mission.
of- Island of the Blue Dolphins?
Oh, that's whoa! I didn't know that was. Whoa. Okay, I read that.
What does it have to do with porn, though?
No, it has to do with
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
being.
Right, if you want to be the lone person, that's
Right,
really
right,
hard.
right.
I mean, we're
Yes.
social beings.
Like you may not even are you employable, but also, would your spirit handle it, your body handle it?
Yeah.
there's
Would
a lot
you
of-
then thaw and then you'd be exposed to all these new pathogens and then die?
Right,
Also,
right.
would it be impossible to make new friends? Because now you're racist against Whatever is new.
That's
Like
really funny.
there's
That's a
good
always
point.
a thing. There's always a new thing that you go
Yeah,
enough
that's a
generations,
great
there's always
point.
something.
Like you wake
You
up
won't
and you're
get
like,
it, yeah.
wait, guys, there are only 6 genders. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, they're like, wow, you need to wake up.
Well, I'd only want to come back if they put me on like a body of like a really beautiful woman, like my head on a.
This isn't.
Oh, I didn't know this was a body swap thing. You could do that too.
Are they transporting?
Koji's
Are they
world.
My thought.
taking
guess
your
so.
personality and your
My head onto the body of.
What if it was just your brain? If they could brain transplant you and then
That'd
you could
be
be in
awesome.
the body of a
Right,
woman.
you'd have a head.
Dude,
Is this so you can have
Match your
empathy
body.
for women? Why would you want? Why
Wow,
would you,
what a feminist ally.
turning over a
or
new
you just want
leaf.
boobs that you can touch freely?
No,
or-
no. Well, get your mind out of the gutter, Dwayne. No, it's funny because I remember when I was like 18, my mom and I were having a conversation. I think we were talking about things, and she's like, "If you could be a woman, would you want to be a woman?" I was like, "Oh yeah, for 100%." And she would be like, "You'd be pregnant already." I was like, "Yeah, I would have found the richest dude, and I would have gotten married and had a baby already." So maybe it's something with that. I don't know.
You want to see what the other side is like.
I just wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, actually.
Interesting. I've never had that thought.
The same plan?
I just want to be a stay-at-home mom. Is that bad? Okay. According to PBS's NewsHour, in early 1967, a few weeks after Disney's death, a reporter for a tabloid newspaper called the National Spotlight claimed he had snuck into St. Joseph's Hospital in Burbank, directly across the street from Disney Studios, and where he was treated during his final illness. As the story went, the reporters disguised himself as an orderly, broke into the storage room, and saw the deceased Disney suspended in cryogenic metal cylinder. Oh.
Well,
Wow.
I mean, the national spotlight. I mean, you can't.
I mean, that sounds like
Their
LA
reputation
Times or
is-
something.
yeah.
New York
Right.
Times.
They really vet their sources.
Yeah.
Well, after this, people began to collect evidence to support the theory that Disney had indeed been cryogenically frozen. Here are a few ideas we found in an article by the Daily Beacon from University of Tennessee. Believers pointed out that the first man to ever be cryogenically frozen just so happened to be in the same city Disney is reported to be buried in, and was frozen only a month after Disney's passing. This proved that the technology for cryogenics existed at the same time and at the same place too. In addition, Bob Nelson, former president of the Los Angeles-based Cryonics Society of California, claimed Disney had called and asked a lot of in-depth questions about being frozen early on in his sickness. Furthermore, in the cemetery where Disney's ashes are said to be buried, there's no evidence or indicator of any remains of the legend being on his family plot, meaning Disney's remains may not be where they were said to be. And his daughter's plate states ashes scattered in paradise, suggesting her ashes were elsewhere. Surely the creator of the largest media corporation in the world would have a nameplate of his own on his family plot.
The plot thickens. The family plot thickens. Well, I mean, paradise. You don't think they just think Glendale is paradise. That's
I mean, maybe it was back then.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean,
That's what,
Glendale's
that's
pretty-
what Americana is.
yeah, Glendale's
oh,
pretty
that's
cool.
true. Yeah, scattered in the H&M in Americana.
Specifically Portos, actually.
Oh.
They scattered in
Portos.
Portos. Yeah,
I
that's
would-
paradise
just always
right there.
eat guava
I would like to think
pastries
he's at
every
the
day.
kiosk where you get your phone fixed.
Yeah, I have my car mechanic is right near that forest lawn, so maybe there's a little bit
Yeah,
over
there you
there.
go. There you go. Here's some more evidence from biography.com that fans of the theory have compiled. Quote, proponents of this rumor claim that news of his passing was intentionally delayed in order to give his handlers time to place his body in cryonic suspension, and that both his funeral and the actual location of his burial plot have been kept secret as a means of further concealing the truth. In addition, Disney's long life interest in the future projects such as his Epcot Center, which stands for Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow, and the technical innovations for which he was known throughout his career would no doubt have lent a rumor to certain air of truth. And now for the conspiracy, we'll be focusing in on today's episode. Let's hear how the Daily Beacon breaks it down.
So the Daily Beacon said, recently around 2019, people across the internet started to believe that the movie Frozen was actually meant to be a distraction to Disney lovers. This sounds absurd, because it is, but the concept behind this is interesting. If you were to Google Disney Frozen, all that pops up is the movie. The movie's title keeps search engines from pulling up articles about Disney's Frozen body. Instead, the articles are all about Disney's movie, The Frozen. The movie loosely follows the story of an old fairy tale like many Disney movies. They could have kept the original name, The Snow Queen, and credited the original author, Hans Christian Andersen, but Disney wanted to make it their own by using their own title. Or was that the reason? Rumor has it Frozen was a movie title strategically thought of.
Ooh, I have a similar conspiracy theory. Okay, it's about Taylor Swift and jets. So, right before Taylor Swift started dating Travis Kelce, there was news going on about how her private jets have a bigger carbon footprint than like the whole world put together for 30 years. I don't know for a fact.
She was like number one on the celebrities list.
I think I just made up a fact that is way too way too big. But the point is, it was like, you know, if all of her fans went carbon neutral for 30 years, it still wouldn't add up to overcoming the amount of carbon that she's emitting with her jets. Right?
Wow.
So just as this started becoming a headline, all of a sudden she goes to the Jets game, and the whole thing is Taylor and Travis Kelce, Jets, to bury
but
the Jets.
he's on a different
story.
team, but they went to a Jets game.
Oh, there was a... Oh,
Yeah.
they were playing the Jets that game?
Maybe. That's what
You know
I'm
That
what?
was the
I had
first
no
game.
idea that he wasn't on the Jets.
Yeah, I didn't either. That's news to me as well.
Because he's on the Chiefs.
He's on the Chiefs.
Undercuts the but I also didn't know that, but I did see that theory and I liked that.
Right.
You
But
know,
also,
we like a good
Similar
SEO.
She had,
mechanic to this one.
If you remember, she, and I'm making this up too, so please bear with me. This is a made up thing. Remember, she had that little snafu where she dressed as an Indian, as a Native American.
She did?
A few Halloweens back at a sorority party. And it was like,
Sorority
to avoid that picture coming up, she's like, I'll date Travis Kelce.
Who's a
On the
Chief?
Chiefs.
So now when they put in Taylor Swift Chief, it'll be that, as opposed to this embarrassing picture
Or
of
maybe
me.
it's preemptive, so now she can dress as that in the future,
She
and
can just
it won't
identify
even
as a Native
matter.
American and Indigenous person.
Right. Now no one will even care because she's dating this man on a football team.
Oh, that's
There
right.
you go.
You're right. She can identify.
So
that's a
that's-
nice little sweet out.
That's the
It's good. You
mechanic.
got to cover your bases, and the way, I mean, I'm very impressed with
Right.
using, I guess, celebrity couples as I didn't, as a young person, I was always like, oh wow, they're in love, but no, it's all PR, it's all
Right.
orchestrated.
If you think about it, Travis Kelce is not Taylor Swift's usual type. She likes sensitive, creative types. They're usually skinnier,
yeah.
often shorter,
Right.
I want to say.
Yeah, or like British.
This is the
She
first
likes a
time she's
London
dated
man.
a hunky dude.
Also, he's like
or an athlete.
I don't think he
Yeah.
I think he's true to himself from what I hear him talk, but he's like kind of hood too. Like who he hangs on, like his his personality.
I've also heard his usual type is black women.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
interesting.
I feel like they're both gateways for each
Yeah,
other. Like
yeah.
this could be a gateway for him to dating.
To see more like
More
all
white.
American.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not a gateway because Taylor Swift would be.
The full
Yeah.
And,
But she could
yeah.
be. But
But
he
she's
could be a
helping his
gateway.
image to be a little bit more American pie, apple pie.
Right, and he could be a gateway for her. Like the next person she dates might be like Puff Daddy or something. Like
Oh, I see. Yeah, part way there. But yeah, I do feel like. But then for him, he just gets the benefit of. I didn't know who he was, and now every woman knows.
Absolutely, that's true. Yeah.
Exactly. But okay, back to this. So while all these theories sound pretty convincing, there's actually no concrete evidence to back any of them. PBS NewsHour says that Disney's daughter, Diane, wrote in 1972, "There is absolutely no truth that my father, Walt Disney, wished to be frozen. I doubt that my father had ever even heard of cryonics."
Well, I don't
Yeah.
know. I read on the internet that he did, so.
Well, here's the thing too. You don't like make a future city. You know what I mean? You'd be pretty obsessed with all things future.
Yeah.
Daughters don't always know what's. Kids don't always know what's going on with their parents. Yeah.
Absolutely. What are you guys thinking? Have all these conspiracies convinced you that Frozen was meant to steer fans away from theories about Disney's cryogenically frozen body? When we return, we'll settle this once and for all and figure out what really, maybe happened. Dun, dun, dun. That's the music that plays.
Now that we've gone over the evidence, let's give our theories.
Okay, so my theory is that Walt Disney, he's a kind of person that lives forever. He actually could never die. And the story about the being frozen it was a cover. So when he comes back, and I think what's the anniversary of Disney? I think they started in 1955, I want to say.
I know Disneyland started in 1950.
Yeah, Disneyland started in 1955.
Was that one first and then World came later, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when he comes back in 2055, people won't be freaking out because they'll be like, oh, he was chronologically frozen or
But
whatever.
why is he that type of person that can't
Well,
die?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'm just telling you.
Whoa.
Yeah, you're going a little step
That's the
too far.
prequel? That's the origin story?
Yeah, that's the
We don't
origin
have-
story.
yeah.
Yeah. So when they created Frozen, the people that work at Disney are, they're puppet masters. Mm-hmm. And so they didn't want it to be associated anymore, but they didn't know about Walt. Walt's hiding out in Burbank somewhere. And then what did they do? They created Frozen. So the conspiracy is real, basically. But they kind of got it all wrong.
But only part of it.
So he's not really frozen, but they don't like the association. So it's like a PR thing.
Yeah.
The PR element is true.
But they put it out there back in the 1970s just so that when he comes back in 100 years, it won't seem weird.
Right.
Oh, okay.
In the 70s, they seemed like this
That's
is
what it
actually
is.
the
Okay.
nicest way
So,
to let
but
them
why,
down.
why did he go away at all if he couldn't die? Just because it would be weird that he
Lives
people would be
forever.
like, when you going to die?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Well, first of all, I think I agree with you on one hand. I think they certainly named it Frozen to do like an SEO kind of cheat, which stands for search engine optimization. I think like it's brilliant to do that. Like it's because like there's a comic who has my name. He spells it slightly differently, and like I don't know him personally, but I do feel like I came first. He came second.
Does he spell it like Dwayne Reed? Like
No, he spells it DEWAYNE. And he's a comic, but I think has a more of a stronghold in the writing sphere of things. But like, do I feel like we're in battle in a way of Google? Like, yeah, right. So
battle.
like, I think search engine. I think it's brilliant because the original name was going to be Snow Queen, and that sounds like a more Disney name, right? Mermaid, Queen, like things that girls want to be. So why is this one called Frozen? It's either because they want women to be frozen, very like be your own kind of thing. But I also think at the last minute they said this is a great way to divert and just stronghold Google or any search engine that you know what I mean. But I think in terms of him being frozen, here's what I think. I think he is. I don't think he's the one who ordered it. I think he's a
Mickey Mouse?
no. I think it's just some guys that work there.
like fans frozen.
No, workers. So basically, in the board meeting, he had this great idea, and like whoever was supposed to write it down didn't like hear it or didn't write it down, and everyone was like, "That's a great idea. That's a great idea," and they were like, "We got to do that idea," and then the guy was like, "Eesh, what are they talking about? I didn't write it down," and they were like, "Disney, what was that idea?" And they didn't get a chance to ask him before he really took ill. So they were like, he had looked into it, and they were like, you know what? This is going to change the game, but we can't remember exactly what he wanted. Let's freeze him. So against his wishes, he was frozen. And if you were like worked at Disney, there's some account item. There's like, if you look through their books, there's this weird thing that no one knows what it is, but they pay for it every year. And it's that. It's like when you go to like a strip club, and if you use the ATM, it'll come up as like a burger place or something like that, right?
I wouldn't know.
Can you translate that to the porn version?
I don't know about
So
that.
when
I don't know what you're
order
talking about.
Is it an online burger?
And your girl is like, man, you've been going to Phil's Burgers like they got some good burgers down there.
Yeah, I'll bring back one next time. Forgot.
And so then those guys, they don't even work there anymore. But every like the one or two employees that did it, when they were about to retire, they indoctrinate one or two other guys and be like, okay, it's true, and then they show them, and then so it's like there's a few people keeping the secret. The family doesn't know about it. Disney didn't commission it. It's just some guys did it. That's my theory. And I do also, secondly, I think it's brilliant, like that you can just sort of like take a name and completely co-opt it. So I think if Will Smith wanted to sort of really get his reputation back on track, he should sit down with some of the people at Disney, and when they do a Frozen sequel, if that's in the mix, it should be called Elsa Slaps a Rock. So then
Right. Anytime you look up slap, it's like, I don't even remember. What happened?
All right, I'm going to do opposite of you guys. I think it's all fake. All of it's fake. The reason it's called Frozen is because it's catchier. It's one word, Frozen. It sounds way better than the Snow Queen. That's 3 syllables. It reminds you of Snow White, and then it's going to take away from SEO for Snow White because you don't want snow in the title at all.
and also there has to be a drag queen somewhere named the Snow Queen.
There's
Yeah, and you don't want to mess with their,
Right,
But
SEO.
if you look at Disney's like titles for their recent movies, a lot of them are like as few syllables as possible. Like we've got Coco, we've got Inside Out. Like it's
Wish.
Wish. Yeah,
Debbie Does Dallas. Oh, that's a different title.
that is not Disney.
That's not a Disney one.
Don't look that up.
The Little Mermaid should have been like Mermita.
That's the next one. Yeah.
Or just Mer, yeah.
Or M.
Right.
But like elemental is just like, that's 3 syllables, but it is just one word. So they do like their one word titles. Encanto is one word, even though it's 3 syllables, but it's Encanto.
Maybe
so,
each one of those movies has a like another agenda, some sort of search engine implication.
Yeah.
Encanto, it's trying to bury the restaurant called Encanto in Hermosa Beach because they had a bad experience there, and they're like, screw you guys.
Maybe someone was
You'll
incontinent
never-
and they didn't want people to...
They're like, okay, cocoa. We don't want anyone to find any hot cocoa on the internet ever again. It's going to be called cocoa.
Right, no, it's anyone searching for hot cocoa is like, wow, I guess I'll get a hot chocolate and watch this movie now.
Yeah. Pretty
What
good.
about Walt? So Walt Disney?
Is Walt Disney frozen? Great question. I'm going to say yes, he is, but it's not going to work. I think he's being scammed because if you think about this whole cryogenic unfreezing thing, like if you die, it's because there's a part of your body that failed. Like it stopped working. Like your organs stopped. Your brain, like something has stopped working.
But they freeze you
and they
before
couldn't
you
fix
die,
it.
right?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Because if they could fix it, then you'd be alive. You would not have died.
No, but he's waiting until they can fix it.
I guess if they put you in an whatever it's called, like an on-purpose coma,
Voluntary? I don't know. What it would be
voluntary
called.
coma, an induced coma.
Induced coma. Yeah, like when you volunteer to go into a coma.
An on-purpose coma. Was it on
Yeah,
purpose?
I guess you could be like old and have like a terminal illness
Right,
with no
it
cure,
preserves.
and just be like, okay, just put me into this coma, then freeze me, then bring me out. So if it was like that, then maybe it could work. But you can't already be dead and then get frozen
Right.
because if they could bring you back to life, they would.
Yeah, that's a
already.
really good point. I didn't think so. He would have to make an executive decision to be like, okay, I'm going to choose this freezing because I'm
Right.
probably definitely going to die.
That's why
Yeah,
I think...
like
I
if
think,
you've got like a
I think
one
he
of
was
those-
in hospice when these guys did it to him. Wasn't
okay.
quite dead yet.
Okay, maybe.
Yes.
All right.
Sierra, what do you think?
Okay. Yes, he's Frozen, and Disney's Frozen was because I also was always like Frozen, kind of weird title. I didn't even think about Snow Queen or whatever, but I was just like Frozen's kind of bland for what a epic, fun musical Frozen was. Obviously, it did well no matter what, but it did feel like the branding was like Frozen, and then it was like snowflakes, and you're like, but what about there's like a snowman, that was like let's get some other imagery in here. So I always was a little suspicious of that. So the first time I heard about this conspiracy, I believe that yes, for that. Then for Walt Disney, I hadn't put a lot of thought into it. I always thought maybe I'd heard that his head was frozen, his severed head was like somewhere, that seems less practical even than freezing the whole thing. It makes more sense to freeze the whole thing. But I think he is frozen. I think the daughter's in on it. Ooh. She's like, oh, my dad never would ever do that. But like, he's like in her freezer in the garage, Like, I think like she's the overseer.
It's not Pirates of the Caribbean. That's too risky.
No, yeah. That's like,
closer to
it's
home.
like, they don't want to mess with the ride. Like, it's, they have to do a lot of construction on the ride all the time. So I think it's in a safe place in her custody. And she's kind of the like overseer. And I wonder if it's less like coming back. Like maybe he thought back in the 70s or whenever, like that it would be the way to live forever. But, as time has progressed, it's probably not. So she just kind of keeps him around because she's like, that's dad, It's nice to have dad around.
Right. I think she maybe has passed away now.
I think she has.
Okay.
But
she would have had the child and the child.
Yeah. It's got to go through like a will, It's like, and they probably get a good stipend from the,
Right.
trust fund or whatever. So.
All right. So at this point in the show, it's time for us to pick the unofficial official story, the one that will answer this question once and for all. So what are we thinking? Which theory do we want to go with?
I like Sierra's.
Okay, so there's 2 votes so far.
Which
What
one did
do
you
I
like?
vote?
Yeah.
I think I like Sierra's.
You like yours that he can't die?
I like mine, but
I mean, ours
I
is
have to vote
similar,
first
except
when
it's
I-
the family.
Yeah,
as
I
opposed
mean,
to- yeah.
I kind of.
okay, I'm gonna vote for mine. I'm just
Okay.
voting for mine because mine seems the most realistic.
Your vote doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, right now it's 2-1. I mean,
Yeah.
it's basically so.
Sierra, you're the
And then I have to. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you're the
you can
final
vote for your
vote.
own too. I mean, probably want to vote for mine most likely, but
Or you can vote for mine. You can just be realistic. I mean, you're a computer science person,
Yeah,
so
I mean,
know
I'll
you're logical.
probably. I think what's most likely true. Occam's razor, is that what they say? Cats, probably.
That doesn't make me
And
win.
did you vote
But-
for yours?
I voted for Sierra's, actually.
Yeah, but
Oh, yours
but
still
that
wins.
was kind of
Yes,
also knowing
yes.
that I
Okay.
would still win. I get to be like humble, but I also get to win.
Right.
Yeah, that's the best outcome.
Okay, great. That's awesome. So Sierra's won.
Yay.
And that's the official story. The family is in on it. He is frozen, and it was a conspiracy theory.
Horrible, scary.
We'll take another break, and when we return, we'll have fun talking about a few more Disney conspiracy theories.
Aside from whether Walt Disney wanted to be cryogenically frozen or not, there are plenty of other conspiracy theories circulating around the web that have to do with all things Disney. So we'll read a conspiracy theory, and then we can vote yes or no on if we think it's true. So this is the first one from the Daily Star. As Snow White waves the dwarfs behind, she rides off with her man into the sunset. Some believe this is a metaphor for being lifted into heaven. What do you guys think, yes or no?
No.
No? Okay,
No.
Kat says no.
Yeah,
Dwayne says no.
I think it could. I think, yeah, that could be, but the argument could be made for like any happy ending, I guess.
Yeah, you could say
Right,
that in
right.
like for Greece. I think in Greece there's about like they say the theory is that as they're driving off in the car, like the real ending of the story is that they drove off and got in a car accident because they were
no,
driving drunk.
Nice.
Okay, I'm going to say no as well.
Okay, next theory. According to Daily Star, Disneyland's Smellitzer is a device invented by the company that disperses different aromas throughout the park. Some believe Disney wants to control their guest's mind through the power of smell.
Yes.
Completely yes.
I'm going to say no, but I'll go to the side a little bit. Disney is like Disneyland. I've spent a lot of time at Disneyland and parks in general. And the thing about Disneyland is that it's so well planned out. Like I always say, if you like have to go to the bathroom, and you'll be like, I have to go to the bathroom, and then you'll turn around, there'll be like a bathroom right there. Or like, I'm hungry. And then you're like, there's like a pretzel place like
yeah.
right there. So it's like,
So well planned.
they even plan the smell is part of the plan.
But that's
not
why-
controlling the mind.
But that's
Yeah,
why I
that's
say
how I feel.
That's why I say yes though, because it's like gambling, sports gambling, you know. Inevitably it's gonna cross the line. Like it starts with guys who are like actuaries and they compute all the data and they just know this team will beat that team by 2 or more points or 3 or more points. Eventually there's too much money involved and someone goes, well, let's not guess, let's just fix it.
Right.
And so if Disney figured out, if they have enough money and they're like, well, these smell can prompt this thing. It may not be controlling your mind like when you leave the park, but in the park,
Yeah.
I'm hungry, I'm this, I'm that. It's all
And
Yeah.
it's
triggers.
science. You can
Yes.
trigger people's emotions. You want people to be happy when they're at Disneyland. So
That's
you're
true.
going to identify like what smells do the majority of people identify with happiness and their best memories. And you're going to be like, okay, birthday cake and
Ooh, yeah.
Unless you've had horrible birthdays as a child.
sure.
And you'll be like, this is the fucking worst place I've ever been.
But yeah, I think it's, like every experience is controlled. And so maybe it's like around lunchtime, they pump out like pizza
hot
smell.
dogs, pizzas.
I don't know.
Oh, and then you're like,
Maybe
I don't want
around
pizza.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and then
Funnel
like
cake.
yeah, I mean it's all like
how else
make
can
a
you
great
explain turkey legs? You know, like
Right. Some reason I only want them when I'm in a theme park.
right.
Because they have to overcome the
stuff.
logical approach to these parks, which is you don't eat at the park because the food's too expensive.
Right.
So
You
you
bring
like
your own.
you somehow like eat a bunch of food before you're at the park and then starve while you're there and then go home and eat.
Right,
after.
right, or,
But
you know.
they're like, no, you can't do that. We're gonna make you hungry.
That's just like porn.
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank God porn doesn't have a smellitzer.
Oh no! Don't give
gross.
them the idea.
No, that's
no.
called college, like a college dorm.
Horrible.
No. All right. Our last theory for today is also from the Daily Star. I don't know how I feel about this Daily Star.
That's where I get all my news from.
Okay, not your porn.
Nope.
Anyways, it says that. Okay, here's the theory. Park employees have sworn they saw the animatronic figures blink or move while It's a Small World was switched off.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Those things move.
Definitely. Yeah, those things are pretty creepy and they're kind of old fashioned. They're broken.
So what are we asking?
I mean,
Are we
Disneyland
asking
is definitely haunted.
if they move
I hope
or
so.
if the employees thought they saw them move.
Yeah, that one.
The second one.
Yeah.
Well, I think the employees, they might be baked. They might see whatever. But,
True. Well, aren't there people who go and try to scatter their family's ashes
Yeah.
at Disneyland?
Yeah.
So, I mean, of course it's haunted. Like, there's gonna be like people's souls caught in the little dolls on It's a Small World. Like, that's inevitable. Also, I just saw Five Nights at Fazbear's.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Or Five Nights at Freddy's.
I was gonna bring that up. Yeah. What do you
Last
think?
night, what I think of the movie. I thought it was a fun little movie.
Yeah.
Scary if you like horror movies, but like
animatronics.
I thought it was a
blinking.
little dumb.
Sure.
There was a point where I was just like, no one would ever do that.
Well, also, it's from the same people who bought you Megan. And I'm like...
I actually liked Megan.
Megan was good.
People
yeah,
liked
but I mean,
me,
like, you bought me Megan.
dolls and-
I don't need to see this other one.
They're like, the thing that we do as a production company is put children in danger. I will say there are children in danger.
Always.
Which is so uncomfortable to watch.
Right.
But,
I like
yeah.
watching children in danger. Oh, what does that say?
Oh.
I mean,
sounds like you gotta watch Five Nights at Freddy's.
Maybe you'll like it.
It's also real drama. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it's not some washed up adult. Who cares about him?
What's funny
Yeah.
is like it's not that the animatronics have come to life. That's not the unrealistic part. It's just some of their decisions. I'm like, that's not grounded in what a person would do. And I'm like, wait a second, we're talking about souls inhabiting animatronic deadly robots. So am I
But somehow the fact that the guy didn't just leave the premises.
Right.
and not go back? Right.
I guess movies have to sort of like suspend disbelief. Like whenever someone like walks into a room and a doll comes to life, or they see an old relative, or anything like that. Anything like, oh, there's a spirit that they can see and no one else can, and they always get over it in about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And and I'm like, I guess they just need that to happen. The real
Right.
thing is, it would be like 2 days of like, what the fuck are
Right,
you
your
doing
whole
here?
reality is
What is this
shattered.
to- right?
I love true crime and stuff. And one of the things that always trips me out with true crime is that they see like they see a body on the side of the road or in a forest, but the first thing they always think is it's a mannequin.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, so because I think your brain tries to do the mental gymnastics always to like try to find like an easy explanation for it.
Yeah, like someone just had a mannequin in
Yeah,
the
and
woods.
then they just threw it in the woods, and then you walk closer, you're like, oh no, that's a
Bloodied it
dead
up.
body, right? So I think the same way, like if we were to see like a ghost or something, or somebody come back to life, we would just like try to explain it in our head.
Honestly, yeah. Like every time I've had some sort of haunting experience, it's usually me for days being like, that's nothing.
wasn't,
There's
yeah.
rats in my walls.
Oh no!
There's definitely rats all over my apartment that I just don't see. And yeah, I'm definitely one of those big haunting deniers until my recent one, but we've already talked about that.
Why don't we share real quick our favorite rides from Disneyland, if you guys have a favorite ride? So Sierra, why don't we start with you? What's your favorite ride?
Probably, and this is a tough one. There's so many great ones. I do love Indiana Jones.
I guess Disneyland. I just like the castle. It looks kind of cool.
We're just walking under that.
Yeah, yeah.
Looking at it.
It's a great.
Dude, you're the
know?
worst. I'm never going to Disneyland with you.
But yeah,
You're like, we
sure.
did it. I saw it. I can go now.
You turn right around and leave.
And also when you park, that like the shuttle that takes you to Disneyland.
Tram.
that's kind of-
Right, that counts. I definitely say that counts. It's the best because you're like, ooh, we're going
Right,
to
like
Disneyland.
it's like going to Vegas. It's like
the
it's almost
build-up.
more exciting than Vegas. The drive, and when you pass Bakersfield, and I guess like the
thermometer.
excuse
Prim?
me, and like an
Oh,
hour
yeah.
later, or Prim, yes. And when you see the lights, you can just turn around right there. Nothing's good is going to happen. Like you did it. Turn around, go back
Right,
home.
before you drop
All right, Kat,
$30,000.
what is your favorite
My
ride?
favorite ride. Okay, so either what's the log ride one, which is Splash Mountain.
Splash Mountain. Which
They're remodeling.
They're remodeling. Yeah.
So sad. And then the other one is Space Mountain.
My favorite
Yeah.
ride is the Jungle Cruise. I think when I was a kid, I wanted to work it. I actually worked the Universal Studios tram ride. I used to do
okay.
the thing.
To the
That's
parking lot?
That's
Do you see animals on this thing? This
Yeah,
jungle
like you
cruise?
see, like it's kind of
Animatronic.
racist. Well,
Right,
not
right,
kind of. It's definitely racist. It comes from a different time when you could be racist against indigenous folks from different places.
Right, right.
But
I know a little fact. I think Walt Disney fully went to like
jungle.
Papua New Guinea or something, and
Okay.
like was like measuring skull. Like he's like definitely like there's some
yeah.
there's some like weird yeah.
But I think it's fun. I think
It was
it's funny.
normal at the
So
time.
they've remodeled
Yeah.
a lot of Jungle Cruise, and then they're
Splash Mountain?
remodeling Splash Mountain
Because
to
it was
be
racist.
Tiana. Yeah. It's based on that Song of the South. It's like a pretty racist old cartoon,
right,
but
right.
now
Yeah.
it's going to be based on Princess and the
Princess and
Frog,
the
which
Frog.
is really fun.
Which I like. I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Because honestly, nobody knew. What was
Nobody
the
knows
Song
what
of the
that
South?
ever- I
What the
don't
heck
know.
is that?
It's like-
And no one likes it. Thank you, Sierra, for coming on with us. Please tell us where people can follow you and find out what you're working on.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. Such a fun discussion. Love anything cryogenics and Disney combined.
That's what you're talking about all the time.
Yeah,
Right,
basically,
Yeah.
this is the one podcast I can do. I'm on Instagram mainly. I'm at Sierra Katow, SIERRAKATOW. I also have a website, sierrakatow.com, same spelling, where I post all my live shows. I'm typically just performing around Los Angeles, and Yeah, I'm on TikTok as well. Everybody is. So yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I had a great time.
And thank you all so much for listening. There are almost 3 million podcasts, and we're honored you chose ours to listen to. And please check out our website, unofficialofficialstory.com, for our show notes or to hear our past episodes. And be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, or X, or whatever it's called today, and now on TikTok as well. Be sure to tune in next month, where we'll be answering the question, did Jesus multiply sushi when he lived in Japan?
Of course.
Well, why are you looking at me because I'm Japanese?
No, I just wanted to know what you think. But
because I'm Japanese, because I'm sushi.
I feel like I just said that in a way that assumes he did live in Japan.
Yeah, I love it. I hope that happened,
sense.
to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, that's why sushi tastes so good.
Right. But then there's which one did he multiply? We'll get into it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that, yeah.
No California rolls, I hope.
Only California rolls, I hope.
All right, thank you guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.